And holler at any time if you can't hear something or we fade away. But so we'll get started, and I guess for the sake of formality, I'll call a meeting to order at 20 minutes after 5. After a bunch of technical difficulties. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No.
Hearing none. Public comment, there is no public here, so there's no comment. Approval of the minutes of December 19th. I have copies here if anybody wants any. I looked at them. I'm fine with them. I'd entertain a motion to approve. Art?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ken, you second it? Yeah, okay. Ken second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Continuing item from the previous meeting, which was actually December 19th, the January meeting was canceled. Formal adoption of the committee charge. I think we reviewed it at the last minute. We made some edits at the meeting, and I forwarded it to, I got a copy of that if anybody wants a copy. Otherwise, what you were sent in the packet is the charge with minor edits from the discussion at 12:19. So I'd entertain a motion to approve the committee charge.
So moved.
Second.
Sam, I don't know if you, don't take this the wrong way, but I don't know if you can vote because you're not a member. You're a liaison.
Sorry.
So that's okay.
I think Sam and I are just spectators.
Yes,
on this
yeah.
one.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Ken, second?
Right here.
Art, second by Art. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes carry, and the committee charge is approved, and I will, I'll forward that to Nicholas and Roxanne to post on the site. I was thinking a while back maybe after another meeting or two, maybe I and whoever wanted to join me would probably just ask to get on the council agenda to apprise the council of the committee getting formed and getting our feet on the ground and get running and just give an update. So in maybe a couple months, we'll do that. So for the agenda, we had talked about a number of things, I think, at the last meeting and or through text or emails that came in. A number of different topics or agenda items. And what I tried to do was inventory them all here. And it wasn't my intent necessarily to get into any detailed discussion of these tonight, but to perhaps identify those which the committee is interested in taking up. If there's any that the committee is not interested in taking up, we can cross those off. And then pick off 2 or 3 at a meeting over the next meeting or two. And just trying to stay within an hour and a half time frame of the meeting. So we can run down those. Just starting with the first one, the idea of a pothole tip line. I know that, I remember when I was sitting as manager and when Bill was here, and I'm sure with Brian here, potholes is a dirty word. I mean, at this time of the year, they're popping up like bunnies.
Yeah, and then you fill it in and
Yeah.
2 days later, it's popped back out, so.
Yeah.
Every day they can, they're out, but it's
Yeah,
a losing battle.
We did have the Click See Fix app for a while, but that never really gained a lot of traction. That the intent of that app was to try to facilitate customer feedback, if you will, or customer tips or whatever. So I don't.
We do get some off the website that people do call in.
Where do they go on the website?
I think Roxanne pulls them off.
Yeah, okay, or they send them directly to her? I mean,
Yeah, I'm not sure how they,
Yeah.
she forwards them to me when they come in. They don't come in a lot, but
Yeah.
they, I'll get this time of year, 1 or 2 a week maybe.
Yeah.
But it's not much.
yeah, I mean, so I think the the reality of trying to set up a pothole tip line is probably not realistic, and there's any way, any number of ways that people can call in. I mean, you can call the front desk, they can call Nicholas or Roxanne, you.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of time, just because I know, I'll send a lot of my requests like that directly to Donnell, and he takes care of it. So,
Would it be helpful if I drive around and take a survey?
Of potholes or of people?
Potholes.
you got a
More
month?
than welcome to, but, you know, like I said, we're out there as much as we can be.
Yeah.
Is there a list? Is there?
We don't have a list of them. When people call, that's when we go out and fill those particular ones. Otherwise, they just go out to a street, and
I was just thinking about going out and collecting GPS coordinates on.
I might have something to show you when we get to some of my printouts. We actually have a looks like a camera, but it mounts in the trucks that
Right.
actually records them.
Right.
So, but it's a matter of getting to them, and fixing them.
I'm sure that's your department, actually
Yeah.
getting to them, but if there's any kind of a problem actually documenting and finding them all, I'd be.
Yeah, I don't think we have a problem finding them. It's just a matter of getting to them to fix them.
But if you get if somebody calls, how do we know if if that's already in the pipeline?
Go out and look. If it's filled, it's done.
Yeah.
If not, it's still on the list, probably.
Well, I've been following the Barre resident chat, and the complaints about potholes are just sometimes just so mean, like, but you guys are sitting around somewhere. So I would think a pothole tip line would just bring those folks out, and it's probably not a good idea.
And some of the calls we've been getting are getting a little nasty. I pulled one out of Debbie's hands and hung up on them the other day because they were getting nasty to her.
Yeah.
So,
Or would a tip line make them feel like they had another avenue of communicating with you?
I don't personally think it's gonna
I assume
amount to,
the answer is we're filling as many potholes as quickly as we can.
yes.
We don't have more money.
Oh, I mean,
Well,
right now, it's not even the money, it's just, you know, when it snows and wet and stuff, you can.
I just mean,
can't-
even when
yeah.
the snow melts, I
It's,
assume.
it's
that
more or less
there's-
just time-wise, you know.
We could usually get it done though by, June or so.
Yeah.
When the weather is
See-
suitable in the summer, I mean, we see the pothole truck out.
The
What kind of?
problem now is we're putting in cold patch.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about now.
That's
I mean,
a
you could fill
temporary
something
fix.
today and it's gone tomorrow.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a
that-
temporary fix,
yeah.
so anything we put in now, we will have to redo by spring, and then, once it comes nice weather, then you can really fix it, you dig it out, clean it out, have it dry, put in real mix, compact
Came
it,
from
and then stay.
Cleveland, I
Yeah.
understand your job.
They do it, so,
But what I was getting to is, I know I see them out periodically, even frequently. Is there a schedule in the summer for them to go out 1 or 2 days a week? Or do they do it when they?
we try to have them out there every day we can.
Yeah, okay.
But if we've got, again, it's the fact of when you're doing a project that you have to pull everybody
Well, that's-
to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then
There
you
would be
get,
more manpower.
oh yeah, more manpower is definitely, I mean, I can tell you right now, I think we could definitely use another 4 or 5 guys over there easily.
Is that new positions? It's not like you got 4 or 5 vacancies, it's.
No,
they're filled.
right now, I think we have technically 2 vacancies
Yeah.
in the water department.
Okay.
And one of them is the foreman, which we've been advertising for years and just can't get anybody to apply.
Yeah.
That's qualified, so I think we're gonna try to fill that as basically a
Internally.
laborer and see if we can grow somebody into a foreman. Instead of trying to hire one. So.
Okay,
But
so
that's
I-
really all we have that's what we have for now, but that still wouldn't fix the pothole, because we could have, a 2-man crew on potholes probably all summer long. But then that would pull them off, possibly the line striping crew, or the basin rebuild crew, or if they're stripping, rebuilding roads for pavement, it pulls resources, so. I would love to have somebody out there, 2 guys out there all summer long patching potholes. It's not feasible to do that with the staff we have, yeah.
Okay. So I guess the summary of that is, not setting up a pothole tip line, but anybody can call City Hall or the Director of Public Works to report potholes, which frankly they're doing.
They are.
Yeah.
How much does that entry-level spot pay?
Entry level right now is probably right around 21. But
Plus some good benefits.
but we do have, our laborers have 3 pay grades. So the pay grade for a laborer goes from about 21 to 24, 25 at the top end of the laborer position. So depending on their experience, so I mean, you're talking, if you're getting in at that $21, you're green with no construction or maintenance type of experience.
That's what I was wondering, is the entry-level.
Yeah, we probably, so that's the very entry level, but.
So the next item is sidewalk plows versus bobcats. Sam, was that an item that you had suggested?
Not that I recall.
Okay, all right, then I don't know who,
The problem with sidewalk plow, they're great machines and they do a good job, but they're a single season vehicle. And we use our Bobcats for the construction season too, so that's one reason why we use Bobcats versus sidewalk plows. We actually had demoed one here and they're perfect for the job they do, but it is a single season vehicle, then it sits for the
what is
remainder of the season.
what's Kermit considered?
That's a loader.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
it's actually almost like a mini front-end loader.
Well, actually, I guess so when somebody says sidewalk plow, what's the, do you know what
I
they mean
think
by
they
that
mean
versus a
like
bobcat?
those, what I took, we demoed one, it was I think a Bombardier one, but it's like a rubber tracked. I think this one, what we tried was a massive, it was 100 horsepower engine in it, it would do 25 miles an hour down the street, but it has a plow with the integrated salt in the one machine.
Oh, like the ones that Montpelier is using.
Yeah,
Yeah, Montpelier has those.
yeah,
Okay.
but they're great for plowing sidewalks, but that's all you do with them, plow sidewalks. So that's where,
So,
I actually recall now that someone had mentioned to me that their concern about the bobcats was that they ate up part of the sidewalk. But is that true? That they chipped at the sidewalk?
I don't think, I think it's, if the sidewalk's in bad condition, with the skid steer method of it, it would probably maybe tear up a bad sidewalk a little quicker, but even those sidewalk plows, they're, if they're tracked or they're articulated, they still turn kind of the same way. So I think that's what might be what they're thinking of. If the sidewalk's in bad condition already, the Bobcat might tear it up a little more, but if it's in bad condition already.
I'm not
it's-
aware of bobcats damaging sidewalks, at least not because of the traction. I mean, it's rubber tired, so there'll be skid marks.
I mean, there's no such thing as a perfectly flat sidewalk.
No.
Roots get under them, they push them up, whatever. So you're bound to catch corners and places.
It's the plow that does it, it's not the. it's
Right.
not
Yeah,
the-
yeah, it's the plow, it does,
And
but
it-
still, he's going along, and I'm sure he's trying to avoid catching it as much as he can, but that's
Pounds
gonna
them around
happen.
pretty good when they catch something.
And
You're trying to skim the ground as close as you can.
A plow blade on a bobcat is the same as a plow blade on a
Yeah, it's gonna
sidewalk
catch,
plow. It's the blade that does the
and
damage.
it's
not
gonna
the-
catch, no matter what the vehicle's pushing.
All right. Okay, actually, this is, Art pulled up, some of these came from you, Lisa, in your email in early January. The next one is crosswalks in locations with no landing zones. Let's see what you had. There's a great license to make crosswalks in some of our streets when people need to cross, but one side does not have a sidewalk. let me read that for everybody. There is,
A crosswalk with no sidewalk.
yeah.
Right, to go to.
Right.
Yeah, there's great reluctance to
have
pay
a-
crosswalks on some of our streets where people need to cross, but one side does not have a sidewalk. Example, Allen Street at Prospect.
Yep.
A very long cross where I witnessed an adult and a kid in a stroller. And again, an adult playing chicken with cars in an attempt to cross the street. With low-income housing of 50 units, the school, and numerous pedestrians using Allen Street, this is dangerous. Also, Prospect is barely navigable with the amount of holes, some very large, which gets worse as the street does not drain. But if I recall correctly, the issue there, at least as far as a crosswalk is concerned, there's really not a place to
No-
launch and there's
no
not a place to
landing.
land.
Right, there's almost, I think you could probably have a launch point from that lower sidewalk, but on the uphill side of Allen Street, there's no place the landing place, so you would have to install,
Are there any sidewalks in that area?
no,
I think there
not
are,
going
right?
up.
Yeah, so I mean,
We-
there's not a
we-
sidewalk on Allen Street.
We had one, or Bill had one planned, but he didn't really have any plans for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So we kind of bagged doing it until we can actually get some details and know what we're getting into to build a sidewalk up through there.
Yeah, but we had it on a project at AOT 40 years ago,
On Allen Street?
Oh, Allen Street? Really?
on Prospect Street.
I was gonna say Prospect, I thought, yeah, and
Prospect.
Prospect is coming up 2 years?
No, we're putting it, it's gonna, hopefully this summer.
Okay,
We're getting the bid ready now. We just have to get with Dawn to see how much money we actually
Yeah.
have. And then the plan is to do that upper section of Berlin, Prospect from basically Allen Street to Jake Street, and then finish Allen Street, because Allen Street,
Allen to
there's.
Berlin? Because from
No,
Berlin,
Allen out to the city line.
oh, really? Because I was thinking Berlin
Because-
to the city line is in bad shape right now.
No, Berlin Street, we're gonna do based from Highgate to the top of the hill. And then we'll jump down on Prospect and do from Jake Street down to Allen.
Right.
And then we'll go up Allen Street out to the city line. Because that one, there's sections there where we'll rebuild, and there's sections we'll just do a overlay. But if you look at it, that's what's been done in the past. They've been patch here, patch there.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna do the whole street, get it done.
When you do Allen, do you anticipate trying to put in a sidewalk? Or is it just?
I
a
would
street?
like to, but I think we're just gonna do a street.
Yeah.
We haven't, I mean, Bill had put it in a bid and had it in a plan to do it, but there was no plans for it.
Yeah,
And, I think they were just gonna kind of wing it, have the guys put a sidewalk up through there, and I don't think that's the right approach to do that.
yeah.
If we're gonna do it, I was gonna get at least some, because there's some critical points where the lawns are too high and you're not gonna fit a sidewalk in there. Because there wasn't even any
Well,
plans on,
and down
which
towards
side of the-
There's a steep bank. I mean, on
Yeah.
one side, you don't have any room
right.
without major
So
earth.
that's why I bagged that plan until we actually have some information and have a clear of what we do. But that is something that I would like to get done, but it's one of those.
Is it- is
Come
it-
to the top yet.
Would it be better to maybe defer that 1 year or even go out now for design proposals to take a look at designing a sidewalk in there? I mean, go out for whoever, Temple or VHB or somebody, and design it, and then incorporate the sidewalk when the street is
See,
redone.
the only thing is that, we're trying to get that area, my kind of philosophy on the paving is we want to do long streets all
Yeah.
together so we can get a good, I mean, it
Good.
worked out perfect. We got a great price
Yeah.
on paving this year.
Yeah.
And that's what we're hoping to do again this year is, so we can get caught up and do these big chunks of pavement, paving. And I think we could put the sidewalk in after, because I don't think it's imminent that it's gonna get done, in the next year or two.
Then maybe if that's the approach, maybe the thing is to do it, get it paved, then go out for a sidewalk design
Yeah.
over the summer.
I mean, I don't
I mean,
even.
that shouldn't cost too much, and then you can program in the sidewalk next year or the year after.
Yep. But that's the type of thing is, it'd be great if we get our guys to do the sidewalk, but then when they do a project like that, they don't get.
They're tied up for.
The maintenance
yeah,
stuff doesn't
Yeah.
get done.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, if we had those, 4 or 5 extra guys, it would make a big difference to get stuff like that done. But right now, they've got so much maintenance to do, it's really hard to.
Bring them to.
TJ and I have different views on, I love projects coming from the engineering side. I love to do projects, and he's been my realist, saying that.
Say
we
see
can't.
the water superintendent?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And his view is,
We got way more maintenance than we can even do.
yeah,
And he would, but then it comes that we don't have the budget to hire out to a contractor to do the projects. So,
We don't know what kind of federal money they'll be hanging around in another year.
yeah.
I guess it's.
Things might change.
I think that the lack of a sidewalk on Allen Street is going to continue to be an issue, because I know that Councilor Deering and other folks on Allen Street have said, Bill said there was going to be a sidewalk like 3 years ago. So I think for those folks, they're like listening and saying, hey, what happened to our sidewalk? So
Yeah.
I think if they can understand, like, we don't have the staff. There's all this other stuff that needs to happen. I think it would go over a little better, because I'm sure it's going to be an issue again.
Yeah, and probably once we get it paved, then when the speed increases, everything, it'll just gonna bring up the subject again.
Oh, yeah.
I think Burn Rose is probably the biggest protagonist, if you will, for a sidewalk on Allen Street. And I understand that, because she lives right just above the
Yeah.
corner, and she goes through there every day, but I'm thinking, Brian, and I understand, you can't wait to do the paving, but I'm thinking if you got the paving done, and if you could spring a minor amount of money go out for proposals to get the sidewalk design done, once the paving is done.
I mean, I wasn't even planning on doing, going out for a design process, because I think we could do it
Well,
ourselves.
okay, I thought I heard you saying you.
Well, no, I mean, there's spots where you need to actually do some grade measurements to see how it's gonna fit in there, not just throw the guys out there and say, put a sidewalk up through there. We'll have to actually do some,
It's gotta be designed, whether it's in-house or out-of-house. It's gotta
Exactly,
be designed,
yeah.
you're right, I absolutely
and
agree
I
with that.
mean, because probably 3/4 of it, they could just go do themselves. But it's those special spots by the lawns where the lawns are up high, and we're gonna have to do some type of, maybe
Retaining
a
walls.
curb on the front and back of it to hold the lawn back, but those are the areas where there's not many of them, but, without some type of a plan in place, it's just,
Going up down, right or left side, you're talking about?
I think we're gonna switch. I think it almost has to go, if you go up the hill, I think it has to go on the right-hand side going up, and then I think
Crosswalk.
we'll switch and go on the left-hand side up to the Green Acres and the C Building.
Yeah, the tough challenge there is to figure out where's the right place to put the crosswalk because of sight distance issues, especially coming up the hill.
Yep.
So,
I think it's something that is probably not eminent, but it is probably on, towards the top of the list of new sidewalks that we would put in.
is it realistic to think that a sidewalk could go in, this is 25, 26? Or,
I would think that would probably be the earliest date.
yeah, 26,
But then, it's just a matter of what do you prioritize?
yeah.
I mean, we could, there's plenty of sidewalk that needs to be replaced throughout the city. So where do you prioritize it? I don't know. And that's what we have a finite matter, limit on funds, so, and we have plenty of options to choose from. to replace or repair. If we did, the sidewalk up Allen Street, there's our whole budget for the year on sidewalks.
Yeah.
So then we do no other sidewalks.
Do we have a map where we need to fix the sidewalk?
I think there was one done at one time. I haven't found it. But I think there was an assessment done by regional planning or someone. So I've heard of it, but I have
How long
not
ago
seen
do
it.
you think?
That was probably, I think it was done about 5-6 years ago.
That's probably gonna be out of date anyway, so.
Yeah, but,
Sounds like we need a survey of the sidewalks.
yep, I mean, that's some of the things that we're trying to, that's why like we have all those
Just
hydrants
finding the
out.
time and the manpower to do it.
Right,
That's the problem. It's just
Right, we
not enough
could
resources.
go on, that's why we're doing the hydrants, they hadn't been done, so we have a list now of the hydrants that need to be replaced, repaired. They've started with the sewer manholes and they're doing that. They're gonna go, the catch basins next, and then we can, and tackle the sidewalks and get the list of them. It'll probably be a massive list of what we need to do, but until we have something,
Well, that could be something I'd be willing to work on if you,
yeah,
working on a survey on a volunteer basis, getting people organizing it, something like that. If you need a map, I'll try to get you a map.
yeah.
Because then it'd be easier to decide in a more systematic way
Yeah.
how we're gonna do the sidewalks.
Yeah, usually, but what I've been, last year we didn't get to any sidewalks, so that's why I think come this spring, we do have some money left from the budget from last year that we're
Probably
gonna.
fix the ones that are making the most noise, but that's not the best way would be
Well,
systematic.
that's what I mean, I don't,
Let's attack where we got the most work, and then,
I don't, try to listen to that noise.
I get it, I get
And
it.
that usually turns me the other way on them if they come in. So, I rely on TJ and Donnell and driving out to tell me which ones are in the worst shape versus, because everyone thinks that their sidewalk is in the worst shape.
Do we have any specifications or anything like that that we're looking for, as far as what am I gonna call bad sidewalk? Which versus, what is, well, we're gonna let that go.
I mean, if we could dig up that old report, that could be a starting point and maybe.
I'd like to have a copy of that.
Yeah, if
Because that'd be a good starting
I've heard
point.
it exists,
If
I have
do-
not put eyes on it myself.
If I do a survey, an updated survey, that'd be certainly a good place to start
Yeah.
with.
You
And then
can,
go around and see what we got.
see the assessment that they have, and you can just update that and add anything else. But I will look for that and see if I can locate it. It's probably Janet might be a good resource on that. Because I think it must have been like regional planning or someone that did that, but again, I haven't seen it, but I've heard about
I
it.
can give Bill a call too and see if he recalls. Was one
Has RPC given you any ideas on projects that they're willing to help?
Nope.
No? Now, I know it's a SA route, and there may be projects, this AOT might have something already, only if our RPC has suggested it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know who to call. Somebody at the AOT.
I have maybe a technical question. So it sounds to me like doing the pavement at any given street is a separate, or can be a separate project from doing the sidewalk. There's no, like if you paved some street and later wanted to go in and add sidewalk, that would just go on top of the pavement, or would you have to destroy some of the pavement?
You'd probably have to cut the edge of the pavement and then, patch a small strip.
But that's not a significant enough cost that
No.
you, okay,
I mean, ideally, you would love to do it all at once, but.
Sure.
I mean, that's, there's,
Probably have to have a curb if you're gonna have a sidewalk.
yep.
I mean, the public works crews do excellent sidewalk construction. I mean, they pretty much got
Yeah.
down to a science.
Yeah, and that's what, I would love to have them do it, but they get doing that and then you're lacking on
Yeah.
all your
Yeah.
other maintenance.
No, my only point was, when they can get to it,
Yep.
they do great work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then if you contract it out, it ends up being a little more cost prohibitive than having our guys do it. So then it just chews up your budget and you can spend it on something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have our guys. Nobody can
All right,
afford.
Sam, can you still hear okay?
I can hear okay. So there's no objective criteria that's easily available to assess sidewalk condition, road condition, pothole condition?
Well, there is, I was getting to that on what I wanted to show. We have we had demoed a piece
Do
of
you want
equipment.
to talk about that piece?
Oh, I guess we can talk about it now.
Yeah.
We have, let me see if I can share the screen again. And just got this. It's this one. It's called the City Rover. And it looks like a cell phone.
Can you cancel that box there?
There we go. It looks like a cell phone, but it mounts in the truck and it records as you drive. And let's see, if we go to this one.
It's a good R, you're gonna need an R.
Let's see.
While we're logging into this, I just wanted to note, for whatever, there is your point about like if we contract out so that we have more people available for these
Yeah.
other things, we're spending all of our budget. But what we also need to maybe remind decision makers is that there are other costs besides the financial costs. For instance, if we're talking about safety, pedestrian safety,
Yeah.
or like if there's something by schools that aren't safe or something by hospitals or whatever, like we need to remember to present that, not just the financial bottom line, because those costs are real too.
So these, what we're looking at here is a map of the city, and they have mounted this into one of the trucks, and they've driven around, and it takes these incidences. And it has a picture, it says, there's a drainage manhole right there that needs repair. So, and then here's another drainage manhole.
What does 67% mean? Is that like how damaged?
Nope, they measure the distance that it's dropped from the surface. So we've kind of put in there that most of our streets have 4 inches of pavement. So that being 67%, that's probably, 2/3 of the way to 4 inches that it's dropped. And
Gotcha.
it measures, we find that it does potholes. I think, yeah, these are all manholes, so I think what I've done here, let's see. Oops. I've got it set to just what's been approved.
And when you say approved, meaning,
I haven't dealt with this a lot, TJ's done it.
Yeah.
They just drive around with it, and every once in a while, he'll pull it in, and he'll get these incidences, and then he'll go through them, and he's approved these that are manholes, because potholes are just, so many of them
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
will note them, but these are, he's been doing to get his manhole list, and then they take the list from here, go out and.
so when he
and
approves
review
it, it's on the list.
It'll save it.
Yeah.
Because it'll clear the incidents every couple days or
yeah.
whatever. But if he approves it, it saves it, and then you can, even through it, you can,
So this can be used for manholes, catch basins.
and roadway. So if we go to data, I just had a crash course on this before. the
No, that's
meeting,
okay,
so.
I certainly understand. I mean, if you're not dealing with it daily, it's,
So this is called the heat map, and it tells
Nice.
where, see, this is sufficient data to run a report, and the subscription you get with this is I think they do like 10 miles of report a year for you. And when they have sufficient data, they can run a report and give you a recommendation of road treatments. And so you can see the different colors. The green, we've had sufficient data, and so that's tells you where we're at by just driving around with our normal day. But this will give us, see, these are the markers that it uses to determine.
Those are measurement points?
Yep.
Yeah.
Of what it's collected on its trips. But it will, I mean, it'll do, if you pay for the service, it'll do, reports on potholes, reports on signage, reports on, the damaged structures. They'll even report garbage piled along the streets. As if more you drive, the more it records.
Wow.
So that's what our plan is, to use this data on deciding on what streets we pave and what we do. That way we have objective data, not just
Now,
picking out of the blue.
Is the instrument mounted on one truck?
It could be, like I said, it's just like a cell phone. And there's it's mounted on the dash, and it runs the camera, so must have some type of an algorithm that associates, but it's got,
But we have one unit,
yes.
one measurement unit,
Yep.
one
yes.
detection unit or whatever. And is that used, in other words, okay, today we're gonna go out and monitor whatever, manholes or whatever, or is it just as they're out driving around, is it?
It's usually just as they're out driving around.
Okay,
TJ does monitor this, and then, if there's something getting close to the number of points they need, he'll make some extra trips around to try to collect them. Or if he knows, like we're concentrating on the hillside up here, he'll make sure to drive those side streets to try to get enough data so we can get a report and a recommendation besides just our opinions on the thing. So that's where we're going with this, and it will record potholes and tell you where they are, what
great.
they're, but again, if I can't quite, I don't know well enough to find the pothole data, but you saw the screen where it was all the ones that are approved. The new ones, it's a massive amount on it.
You'd have to run this every week, or
Yeah,
the program to find all the potholes.
how long have you had this,
about 6 months.
Yeah.
See, I think I go here and go to new.
Brian, it sounds great.
Yeah,
It
it's
sounds
very cool.
perfect.
Yep, yeah, so we decided that we did it for a 6-month trial, and it's getting the data, so we decided we'll at least get the subscription, and then we have to pay for the reports as they come, as we need them, so we can just concentrate on, if we pick out these long stretches of streets that we're gonna do for a paving project, we can concentrate on the side streets to determine which ones.
so you can be selective about getting reports and the
Yep.
frequency, so.
Right, yeah,
you
we
can
could
manage
call,
cost and-
we could call up, say we plan on, doing Prospect Street and Berlin Street, and then we could just add in all the side streets, get a report on those.
Do you, are you at a point now where you need to make a go, no-go decision as far as the subscription is concerned?
No, we signed up for the
Oh, okay,
subscription.
so
Yep,
you
and
have it.
we have it,
Yeah.
it's a yearly subscription. So we're at least gonna try it for a year and see what we really,
Do you have plans to kind of preview this for the council at a meeting coming up?
I haven't yet, but
I think it would be, I think it would be a good idea. And maybe even if it's a matter of having TJ come in and
yeah.
really do a demo, I think it's a kind of, what do you think, Sam?
I think that'd be perfect, and I think the council would love it.
Yeah, see, this is the picture, they picked up a pothole here, and you can see,
Yeah.
the pothole says it's 100%, so that means the pothole's
All the way
4
through the
inches deep.
pavement. Nice.
But see, a demonstration of this would answer, like the question Ken was having, do you have a plan, do you have a survey or whatever? I think demoing this for the council would show,
But you see on this here, it says 100%, but that's with the assumption that there's only 4 inches of pavement there.
Yeah.
Main Street's probably got 9, 10 inches of pavement on it. So,
No, I think,
that's where it's,
What's that month, that yearly subscription run?
I think it's like 1,400 for the year. And then you have to pay for the reports after that. Once you have, but you can only get a report if you have enough data on that street, where we had the other map, where we had the green roads. Those, we have enough
Pay for-
data.
Seems odd that you pay for a subscription and it doesn't include reports.
That's the
well,
way
well, I
everything
think-
is these
I think that's
days.
the way a lot of stuff is. It's sort of à la carte. I mean, you get the basic program and then.
Yep.
Then you select what you want for
Is this
extras.
available for me to peruse somewhere?
It's online.
It is?
Yeah.
What the,
Yeah, we have the logins here.
for, then this is for, it's called City Rover?
Yep.
Okay.
But maybe a couple months out, Brian, when folks get a little bit more used to it.
Yeah,
have-
maybe when we get our first report, we can bring that up.
I
to-
think,
I'd be interested in
I think it would be very beneficial for the council and frankly for, the public and folks who listen
Yeah.
in online to say, okay, this is the kind of stuff that the council and the public are interested in. Okay, this is what we're doing. I mean, a lot of times stuff is going on behind the scenes that the council doesn't know or the public doesn't know. You're doing stuff and,
Another thing that's tied into the same type of thing is, we have this program, iWork, and it's a public works kind of software, but we do have pavement management in this section, where we have a pavement map of the city. And what we're hoping is maybe we'll put it in here, and this will do, color coded, if you have everything input. We don't have it built yet.
Yeah.
But every street has,
do you have this subscription too?
yes.
Yeah, see, I think,
And every street has a rating, and you can look at it here. And, you'll put in your ratings of the street, of the conditions, and it'll actually give you a recommendation of what you should do. And then it'll color code everything if you want. And,
even, I'm sure it's gonna take some time to get these apps under, I'll say your belt or the staff's belt
Yeah.
in terms of whatever, but if you could, I'd highly recommend if you could come in a couple of months,
see,
and with whoever, whether it's TJ and or somebody else.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have it mastered and you're still trying to, come to,
see, this program here we have our fleet management on it, and the mechanic is starting to do his stuff through that. But Debbie is entering all the gas in through this, so let me just pick something.
Equipment?
Like the Komatsu.
I think that,
And it's got all the fuel history here.
yeah,
And you'll be able to, she does her monthly reports through this program. So it keeps track of that, and the mechanics are gonna start doing scheduling and keeping track of all the maintenance through this.
do we have a keyed, fuel distribution system yet? I know that was.
We have one, but it's sitting in the basement.
Okay, all right, so it's not in
No,
place yet.
but that will work with this
Well,
program.
that's why I asked.
So every piece of equipment would have a fob, they scan it
Yeah, yes, yeah.
in, and then every month or whatever, you would download it, and it would come directly into this program, line up with the right vehicle, and then Debbie wouldn't even have to enter in the gas
Well, and one of
receipts.
the other advantages, it just helps police fuel,
Yep.
fuel usage and.
So hopefully at that point, then that'll be a task that's automated.
So, this is something I know a little bit about. So if the John Deere 624,
Yep.
is there a maintenance history that is available, or
This one does not have much maintenance because it's only a year old.
do the mechanics have a maintenance history available?
There has not been great records kept in the past. That's one of this,
I think that's one of the reasons for, we were talking
Yes.
about fleet management systems 5 years ago.
and the mechanic we have now, he's been here for about a year, and he is very eager to start that type of maintenance records and scheduling. I mean, they didn't even have like registry or inspections on any type of a schedule.
Yeah.
So, all of a sudden, oh, we've got 4 trucks that aren't inspected yet.
You're in desperate need of something like Fleetio.
Yeah, well, I think this is what, this can do what we hope it will do.
It's a fleet management system.
Yeah, so you can schedule all this, like when you have the inspections, you can schedule them for every 12 months. And you'll get a work order will be printed out and made for that type of thing. And we're gonna set it up with the, so like the police and fire departments can request their maintenance through it.
Yeah.
So we have the fleet management side of it. And then there is the pavement we saw. Sewer management is not built yet, but the water management is. So we have, all of our, you can, view hydrants, valves, mains. We don't have the curb stops built in yet, but there is water map of the water system.
Brian, I just want to echo what Steve is saying. You need council and the community needs to know you've got this stuff and you're doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's great PR.
And
It is,
it's really
yeah,
impressive
exactly.
change.
Great with this program is we went out and bought, I think, 7 tablets, but they have access to this in the field.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can find one of them. Where are we? Oh, no, down this, where are we? Right here, let's switch to mains. So I think this is one of our water mains. And edit the view and this one. But if let me pick this one. Now, one of these around here, you can attach like our old maps to them, like right here. So they can pick on this in the field, and there's our tie sheets
All right.
right there. So again, this is all a work in progress, but hopefully and then if you look at, go to hydrants, they've worked with the hydrants, and hopefully this is one that maybe they haven't done this one yet, but when they do maintenance on them, they're logging in their maintenance on this, so we can tell when they've done any repairs, or when they pump them in the fall, when they flow them in the spring. We've got places so that they can record the flows.
I mean, it'll
and
take
everything.
2, 3, 4, 5 years to
Oh,
get this
yeah.
thing fully populated,
Yeah.
but at least you're starting, and that's.
Yep, we got something started. I
Hey,
guess-
I got a question for
Yes.
you. Seems like during the summer, and during last summer, there were another number of water main valves that the pavement was cut around them. I was trying to figure out what was going on, because I don't know if part of it was raising some buried to the surface, or,
Historically, the gate valves in Barre have all been paved over.
which I never supported. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I believe that was Reg's.
Yeah, and
idea.
the reason for it is that the plow blades didn't get caught on.
Right, and it kept the dirt and sand out of them.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
But in the meantime, when you got
When you have.
200,000 gallons a day of water
Yeah.
flowing, and you gotta
You
figure out
gotta
where the hell they
find it
are.
where it is, then you gotta get the jackhammer
Yeah.
and bust it out. So that's what they did that, they went around, we signed up for a grant or a free service from Natural Resources.
Yeah.
They provided like 3 days worth of valve exercising.
Yeah.
So they had a contractor come in, and so our guys went around and had to open the valves and
Okay.
cut them all out, but they came in, they exercised them and gave us a report. to
And
say-
the plan is to leave them all at the surface.
Yes,
I
yeah.
think that's,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, we can probably just finish up with what I have here. Let's get this out.
it's unfortunate you can't see this, Sam, but,
Well, I'm hoping to see it at some point at the council.
yeah, I think that's,
Yes, we got a grant from RCAP to do mapping of our sewer system to build our database. And this is what they've come up with, they've done so far.
Yeah.
Once it gets populated, you'll be able to see it, but we'll be able to take this information, put it into the iWork program to do all of
You've
our.
got to get in front of the council within a couple of months, Brian. Again, whether, you may not have it mastered by then, but I think the council really needs, and the public really needs to see what's going on behind the scenes, and that the city is being proactive. Right now, I think, correct me if you think I'm wrong, Sam, but I think there's a lot of impression that we're just chasing the last disaster, chasing the last maintenance problem, and not trying to be proactive. And I think this changes that story.
I agree with you completely. People do think we're just kind of running around waiting for the next water main break. So for people to know that that's not the case, that'd be powerful.
Yeah.
So this is what they've collected so far on or manholes. And they do have the sewer lines in between them. And this is a program that we have a year's worth of subscription to.
Yeah.
Through that grant that they had, but it's got they did pictures of the manholes and everything's in there. And we could use this the same as the other program, but we already have that one, so
Yeah.
we're probably gonna migrate it all in there.
Yeah.
But we do have some more info that we need to patch into all of this. After the 23 flood, the state gave us, they had us map out what was inundated with water in our sewer system. And they hired a engineer to come through and GPS and do an assessment of the manholes and lines. So the two trunk lines from the wastewater plant up to, I think, Brook Street and over to Smith Street are surveyed in.
Yeah.
And then part of the AOD, we're required to do 10% of our system. And that is, I told them to concentrate on the lines that come from Barre Town, so they concentrated on Washington Street and Beckley in that end, because if you look at this here, you'll notice that where are we, Clifton, we're above, that they did not do Washington Street. This company didn't.
Yeah.
Only because they already know that the other one's doing it. So when we patch everything together, hopefully we will have a,
Comprehensive.
it might not be a complete, but it'll be, and it's good data. They have elevations on these. So because that's one of the things I did request of them, that if they get elevations, that way we can actually use those, because my guys are planning on going through and like they did with the hydrant assessments, go through and do manhole assessments and actually measure down so we have actual elevations.
Yeah.
And, we won't be designing anything, but if there's any type of, a planning going on, we can at least do calculations to see if
Yeah.
that type of stuff will work. And
Well, that's good. I'm looking at the clock, it's 1:15. I think that for the committee's planning purposes, it's nice to be able to plan on a start time and a stop time. So I'm thinking that an hour and a half for each meeting is plenty, and if we don't finish the agenda, we'll just move that stuff to the next agenda, but I don't think anybody wants to sit here for 2 or 2.5 hours. So,
You'd be right about that.
say again?
You'd be right about that.
So we'll adjourn at 6:30. So do we want to keep going through these items? Do we want to turn to Brian and let him give his, I'll say, monthly report for, I'll defer to the preference of the committee, how you like to proceed.
I guess, like you said, this was going through, 3 items from that list.
Yeah.
If we try to do a few each time.
Yeah. So why don't we turn to Brian to go through your report?
okay.
And then when we get done that, we'll call it a meeting.
Just before.
Be quick on this.
Could you email a copy of this to Sam tomorrow?
Okay.
Yeah, again.
Yep,
And Sam, we'll have this owl figured out by the next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Thanks, Brian.
Yep, so it's not a lot has changed since the last one, since it's, winter time and their guys are just out plowing snow. So the hydrants are pretty much the same. The one thing is that we do have 16 new hydrants in inventory that we've ordered and hoping to get those installed, at least as many of those as we can come spring.
Yep.
The manholes are still ongoing. The Route 302 thing is, transmission main, that's still probably up in the air on funding. There's no updates on the Cobble
Meaning
Hill.
we haven't had confirmation, the CDS hasn't been approved yet?
Well, no, that has been approved, but the total project cost is 5.5 million now.
Oh, okay, all right.
So it's,
I'm
how do
sorry,
we?
I should have read down one more line.
Yeah, so we have the almost 2.5 million from congressional spending, but we still have another
2.5.
2.5 to go. So I'm not sure where we're gonna get that. The leak on Cobble Hill, Don is still looking at that alternate funding. I believe that the Air Street is ready, but, because of other obligations with the water fund, that's probably pushed off till next year or the year after. The sewer lining, they've got probably 2/3 of it completed, and then we got a real cold snap, so they had to stop, and they're just waiting for some warmer nights to come back and finish it. Yes.
That's everything north of, not north, that's west of 62.
Not
No.
quite. We're doing that,
You had to line something on this, where the big dig was?
no,
Oh, okay.
no,
From where the big dig stopped. or
Stopped
started.
at
Close.
62, yeah,
well, the sewer came back to Brook Street.
yes, yeah.
So we're that side of Brook
Okay,
Street.
everything west of,
Yep. So, and I'm sure all of you know that section where we had to replace the sewer, that is it's a disaster down there, but, it would cost us $30,000 to pave it, and it would be temporary. And so we would have to tear it up in the spring and probably spend at least another 30,000 on it. So we are trying to maintain it and limp through it the best we can.
Well, that's good to know.
The wastewater projects are moving ahead. We're into final design on the Headworks project. The rural development loan application, I think should be submitting anytime now.
What's the price tag on that treatment facility?
The Headworks project construction is 7.6 million.
How much of that do we have?
Well, we're probably gonna borrow the money for it from the revolving loan fund.
So it has to be paid for still.
Yeah, it'll be paid over the year, 30 years repayment on it.
That was in the fall ballot, wasn't it? On the fall ballot.
Yeah, we've
The
got,
bond is-
the bond is approved
Yes.
for that. I think it's up at I think total project is like 9, but, construction cost is like 7.6. We are putting a roof on our sludge bunker.
Well, just backing up, do you have an estimated bid date, bidding
We
time?
are hoping to have final plans completed and approved by July.
Okay.
So,
Do you anticipate bidding in the fall?
I anticipate bidding just as soon as we can.
Yeah, okay.
If we can advertise
So
in
it'll be out to
July.
bid this year?
Yes. I would love to advertise in July, and so that they can at least get their orders started this
Yeah.
fall. Because there's gonna be some long lead on some of the stuff, but, maybe they can even get some work done this fall, site work. So, that would be a major project to get done. The sludge bunker roof installation is scheduled for March 28th. We are hoping that's gonna, again, save us some money.
Yep.
The sludge comes out of the filter press at about, get my numbers, 9%. Or, no, they squeeze it down to 6% solids. They put it out in the bunker, and then the rain gets on it and it jumps up, or, I can, I
Goes down to 2% solids.
yeah, they basically lose everything that they squeeze out in that bunker. So, and then we pay by the ton to get rid of it. So all that extra water that gets in it, we're paying for. So we have a steel roof being installed on the bunker to hopefully keep the rain and snow off the sludge and save us money.
Yep.
The other ones are still ongoing, the 20-year wastewater evaluation.
Is that Alderton Elliott?
No, that, the last three are Wright Pierce still.
Oh, okay.
Alderton Elliott is doing the final design on the headworks. We switched over just for final design because of time.
Yep.
So those are ongoing. We do have an amendment to the intermunicipal agreement that, we have to get some final numbers on it, and then we will meet with Barre Town to, try to get that amendment through. Paving, Merchants Row will be paved this spring. That's gonna be their first thing to do. And then, like I said, Berlin Street, Prospect, and Allen are scheduled for this year's paving bid. And we're hopefully gonna advertise that anytime now. Dawn got back from her vacation today, and I've got to bug her to see what I can get for budget money, so we can advertise that.
We're in fiscal year 25 now, right?
Yes.
So, so that's saying the summer of 26 for Prospect Berlin?
No, starting, we'll start this year.
Okay.
This summer.
So is it?
We're really, paving is, we hopefully get it all done this year.
Okay.
And then next spring will be just our prep.
So when you say fiscal year 26, does that mean you want to start the paving after July 1st?
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay. It'd still be next summer, but it's going to be the beginning.
Right, yeah, because we're like, on all those streets, we've got, hydrants to replace, we've got manholes.
You gotta prep it.
Yeah, we're gonna install, under drain on those upper sides of Prospect to try to fix what we can. I think a lot of that might be ledge, but we can probably peck out enough to get a pipe in there.
So all of the paving that you have there is, you intend to get done this summer? Summer,
I would
fall,
like to,
mean, this-
yes.
Before winter?
Yep, I mean, like Merchants Row was scheduled for last year,
Right.
but because of the flood here and the paving contractor had flood damage to repair in New Hampshire, we made an agreement with them that they would honor their price with just an adjustment for pavement.
Do you anticipate excavating or just doing or stripping and overlay or stripping or?
We're gonna, strip most of those streets.
No, I mean Merchants Row,
Merchants Row, we're probably gonna strip most of it.
at least the drive, the drive
Yeah,
lanes,
yeah, we might leave some, I mean, there's some spots where we're just gonna overlay, but, we've got some drainage that we're gonna add in, because right now the drainage runs to the middle
Yeah.
of the road and then goes down, which ends up, you're running in water, and that's what creates potholes.
Oh, yeah.
So, if there's some drainage that we can adjust to hopefully push more of the drainage to the curb lines and then into the structures. So that's the work we have to get done as soon as we can so that they can get in there.
Is there any plan to pave South Main?
Well, that's the
sometime.
state,
That's the state.
isn't that 27?
Yeah, hopefully in 20, so that's what, my,
There won't be a road left in 27.
But we don't care about the road, it's the bridge, you want to say. The bridge is a lot more expensive than any of your roads.
so that was, my kind of master plan. What I was thinking of is, we're doing these streets here, and then the next year we're gonna jump up to that side of town and do Nelson and Woodland, and then maybe something in that area. And that gets kind of our major roads done before the year 27, where they're doing North and South Main, Washington, and Maple. The state are doing those. So, and then after that, my thought is that's when, since our main roads will be paved newly within, 5-6 years, we will jump to neighborhoods and do kind of every street in that neighborhood that needs it. Instead of jumping from neighborhood to neighborhood, concentrate in the neighborhood, so you get that all done and the contractor doesn't have to
Minimize the
mobilize.
mobile.
Yeah,
Mobilization, minimum.
so that's the plan.
Brian, what kind of mitigation or whatever in your plans are you making for the inevitable July flooding? I mean, in terms of like, I don't mean like, how are you mitigating the stuff? I just mean like, you were talking about this contractor last year who had damage. Like, what's our plan for when that happens again this year?
The annual July 11th.
I mean, it's, you know,
I was hoping to take vacation in July.
yeah, so you don't care what happens.
No, actually, Nicholas has said all vacations are canceled for July.
Wow.
We're hoping to have a block party July 11th.
Yeah.
Bring your swimsuits.
I mean, it's, you know, we've got a plan on, we've found a lot of the damage that was done on, especially like Main Street and then even like Brook Street, and some of them were from people driving through the waters.
Yeah.
And the splash effect. So we have a plan, you know, we have it mapped out that we're gonna lay out barricades, and as soon as the water starts to build up, we're gonna close the streets right off and not let people through them until then. So that's kind of one thing that we've learned,
Some
that,
people drive through just to see how much weight they can make,
yeah, and that ends up damaging people's property.
like denties.
Yeah. And so that's one thing that we've got in place that we're gonna do. But we've upgraded our trash racks, which have been working very well. I don't know if there's anything we're,
I guess I'm thinking like, you know, I imagine that there are paving alternatives that are more permeable or that stand up better in flooding, or like, what is our long-term plan to not be completely
I mean, like
stumped in July when this happens?
this year, July flooding, it did not damage a lot of our pavement.
Okay, good.
24 did, or 23 did, but 24 didn't. We had erosion in that, but it didn't damage. We had, not even a quarter of the damage to roadway stuff that we did
So that's a matter of where the flood decides to hit, though.
Yes, and the severity of it. I mean, this one, the
Yeah.
23 was, I wouldn't say twice, but it was, we got probably twice the damage in 23.
But in Barre,
24,
like in
yeah.
general, like Plainfield, it was worse then. So it's just a matter of where it's gonna hit.
Is there any plans for mitigation as far as trying to prevent 23 from happening again?
There's a lot of mitigation plans, but it depends upon on funding. They're
Yeah.
very extensive, and I think they'll make a huge difference to the north end, but the timeline is not clear.
Is there a plan available somewhere that I can look at, or?
Oh, yeah, the hazard mitigation plan must be on the city website, because it's.
I think it is.
I think it is.
Okay.
It's in the, probably in the document.
Yeah, it's at least in some of the meeting minutes, I would think, Sam, or
Yes.
attached to some of the agendas or meeting minutes from, because you guys have reviewed it during your council meeting multiple times.
Yeah, and there's a 1 through 10 list of what would have the most impact, and so what would hopefully we would do the soonest, and what would be the price tag. So all that exists,
Yep.
and I think it's a very, very solid plan.
The one, with this snowstorm that we just got, I was thinking, Ed, and what we really need to worry about is a warm spring with a rainy day.
Yep.
And if we have a nice warm spring without rain, we may be okay, but I know in 2011, it was a combination of frozen ground, a lot of snow melt, and a lot of, 24 hours of rain, and that was in the spring, but we still, two of our worst floods have been in July.
Right, and even at the 23 flood, if you looked at everything, we were keeping up to the 3, 4, 5 inches of rain, 6, 7 was okay, but it was those, it was
Yeah.
really when it hit, that 8, 9 inches
Yeah,
And then everything
Yeah,
just went,
eventually
and
gets to a
then,
point where you have
right,
to use
and then
any
when
kind
it,
of control.
when it went over, it just went everywhere.
Yeah.
And in '24, it was the duration in '24.
Sure.
We had such a shot real quickly, it changed within like 2 hours, water went up like 3 feet. But then once it stopped, everything went down. So it was that, that it rained so hard so quickly, but then '24, it was just a massive amount of water that just came down and it just overwhelmed everything.
Do we,
Who knows what it's gonna do this year?
it's 6:30, do we want to stop here? And
I
then-
need to go.
Yeah, so why don't we stop here, we'll finish, or you can update your report for next time.
Yep.
Or we'll finish these items. The other items I'll get on the agenda for next time. If anybody has any suggestions for agenda items, just send me an email. I think the last item is just to set the next meeting date, and according to our schedule, it would be 5 PM Thursday, March.
Yeah, March 20.
March 20th. I guess, could I have a motion to that effect if everybody approves?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And with that, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, take care. We'll get you online or next time, see ya.
Okay,
All right, take care.
you too. Bye.
Bye.